Ta-da! So, hello everyone, welcome. Today, I want to talk to the elders. I mean, you've seen the title, and I think if you have your grandmother, if you're an elder, and by elder, I mean if you're 45, 40 and up, or if you are 50 and up, or in your 60s. I know some of you watch my videos because I can get the stats from YouTube. So, today's video is specifically for the elders. And for you, whoever you are watching the video, to call on to your elders. I think one of the most defeating things is when the elders give up. Okay? When the elders are nowhere to be found. When the children are left to rule for themselves and fend for themselves. That's where you kind of start seeing a lot of things decaying. When your own mother cannot teach you about self-love because she doesn't know anything about it, because she hasn't had the time to experience it, to learn it, or she hasn't had the luxury of even exploring that aspect of herself. That's when those children suffer and the grandchildren suffer, and it becomes a vicious cycle that only a reincarnated soul or incarnated soul that's awakened can strive to break. So I think it's tremendously important that the elders come and play their part. Once you reach your 40s, once you reach your menopause as a woman, once you reach your 40s, your 50s as a man, your role now is to look at the youngest and be able to be a guide, be able to be a source of wisdom, a resource for those young kids, for the youngest, for just the people younger than you, the people who haven't experienced as much as you. So there's a point where you get out of the egoistical and the me first phase, and you begin to say, what can I contribute? What can my legacy be about? How can I help others? How can my voice, my thoughts, and my decision, how can I use all of that to support and help the next generation? How can I build a foundation for a stronger community, for a stronger family, and for a stronger self, and to adjust your legacy, your own legacy? I think it's so important that the elders get involved. In one of my videos, I was talking about traditional marriage or military marriage. I will link it somewhere or put it down in the description bar, in the description box. And I finished the video saying that today the elders are not even doing that part anymore. Before you didn't have to go out there and meet somebody. Your parents would come to you and say, listen, this is time now for you to get married. You're established enough for you to get married. They will go to the man and say that, and say, it's time for you to get married. You're established now, and we have brides to propose to you. Okay? So it wasn't the woman who was going out there and starting to look for a boyfriend or for a husband or blah blah blah. It was your parents, the parents of the boy, the parents of the man, who were going out there looking for a match, a woman that will be able to, see his temper and match with his temper, that will mesh with that will honor him, a woman he will be able to honor and love and nurture and build a family and continue the legacy on. Okay, and they will go sometime look for the children of their friends, children of the friends of their friends, people they knew, people their families they respected, so forth and so on, because it wasn't about just the two of them, it was about two families coming together. Okay, and then with time, somehow the elders decided, they're just gonna live their own life, and they're gonna leave the youngsters to themselves. You have that generation. If you are born in diaspora as an African and you were born of parents who were born back in Cameroon or back on the continent, who got married through traditional marriage, through tradition helping them find each other, and your parents maybe have been married for 30, 40 years or 20 years, who knows? And now, your parents are just chilling and they're telling you, you need to get out there, you need to find somebody. Forgetting that they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to go on a date and wish that this was not a psychopath They didn't have to go there and be scared that this may be a rapist, this may be a criminal, this may be somebody who just want a one-night stand, and all. They didn't even have to factor that in their brain, because their parents would bring them the different suitors. If you're a woman, your parents would say, okay, there's this person contacted us because he's looking for a wife for his son. That other person contacted us. Now you have this array of suitors that you can choose from, and you are at liberty, because we know them, we know their reputation, and those are people who are honorable. Those are people who will honor when they say they were engaged to marry you. They will honor that. They will honor their marriage vows. The incentive and the communion of the two family is what's going to help your marriage be stronger, because it's not just about the two of you, it's about two families coming together. Okay? And please do not comment about, you know, divorces and abuses and all of that. It happens in every society, okay? But in most of the traditional African societies, these are the minority of the relationship that end up in abuse, you know, kind of thing. It's not the majority, okay? So you don't need to comment about that. And this, I'm just laying the foundation, okay? So this is to say that at some point, the elders just decided, well, I'm married, my husband is here, we've been 30 years, we have the kids, maybe we send the kids to study abroad and they learn all these different things. We just hope that they'll meet somebody over there that we don't even know whose family they're coming from, and they will get married and established and all of that. But we can just be chilling here, we can just be living our own life, doing our own thing, and not really getting involved. And especially for you women or girls, you know that when you send abroad to study, your parents are like, focus on your study, get your BA, and after the BA, yeah, go for the master's, if you can, go for the PhD. And then somewhere along the way they say, hey, don't focus on boys, just focus on your degree. And then they're like, well, how come you're not married? Didn't you meet somebody along the way? So it's important. Now I'm calling on the elders. I understand. I have so many messages from sisters and all of that who are going through college, doing this and that, and thinking that their degree, your career, you may be thinking that your degree, your career is going to be, that's the end of it, that you made it. Hey, you graduated from college, yay! I've got a college degree as well. Great. The college degree doesn't make you eat. You still need to get a job. And your college degree is not going to keep you warm at night. Okay, you still need to have if you want to look for your husband and all that stuff, if you didn't find him in college, if you didn't find you in college, you're still going to be needing that portion of your life in order for you to feel complete. And I know it may sound like, oh, she said complete, I'm supposed to be feeling complete on my own. No, you're not supposed to be feeling complete on your own, especially if you're a feminine woman. You're going to need to find that masculine energy from outside of you, to complete you, so you become whole. We don't have both masculine and feminine energy. It's kind of like the yin and yang sign. Okay, in the yin, which is the female, you have like a dot of yang. It's not sufficient for you to strive on as a feminine woman. Okay, it's not sufficient. That's why you need the other portion of it. That's why it's become complete when both sides are like they're together. So you're going to keep searching, and you're going to have, as a feminine woman, you're going to have that longing to find that masculine man. That man is going to be there. That man is going to come and compliment you, and that you're going to be able to compliment. And it's completely natural, it's completely normal. That's the laws of nature. Okay? And then if you're thinking about having children, having a legacy, turning that legacy to your own biological children, you may even turn out to be non-biological. But if you're thinking about that legacy, you're going to be thinking about a partner, and you're going to want to be in a partnership. And I think the elders are there to be taking part in that. You know, have your grandmother, have your elder sister. If you have a sister who's over 40 or 50, have her sit down. If you have an auntie, have her sit down. And some of you are new, some of you are Nigerian. I'm Caribbean, you're Nigerian, we're cousins, so some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where, you know, where you're like struggling, you're single, you're looking for a mate or whatever, or a perfect match, whatever, and then your auntie is just pointing out to all of your flaws, but not doing anything to assist you, not giving you anything constructive and positive for you to change. You know, get that auntie of yours and send her this video. don't have her curse me out, but send her this video. So this is really I'm addressing the elders. I'm addressing the auntie. I'm addressing the grandmothers. I'm addressing the mothers And because I'm not just going and picking out on the aunties and the elders and all of that, because you know my channel is also about, is especially about each individual, you know, doing the work on themselves, bettering themselves, doing everything, making placing their best foot forward and changing their flaws, trying to transform yourself so you can actually, you know, naturally attract this person and have this person in your life and actually have the joy that you deserve, the joy that you want, the joy that you aspire to, no matter who's the partner that you want, no matter what kind of lifestyle you want to live. Okay, so this is not about putting the blame or putting all the responsibility on the elders. No. I know that a lot of you are doing your part. A lot of you are trying to be better, to, you know, make sure that you're on top of different things, making sure that you're clearing up your credit, you're doing all the different things that you can, getting your degrees, to be, you know, to be cultivated, to be knowledgeable, to have something to transmit even to when you have a child, to have something to teach that child. So this is not about that. This is really about asking the elders to come back and take their spot. And in the same time, I'm asking them to come back, and I probably will do a different video about the respect you need to pay to your elders in terms of seeking advice from them, seeking knowledge from them. And it's not just your own elders, it's not just about your own grandmother, it's about the grandmother down the street, it's about the grandmother sitting next to you on the bus, it's about the grandmother crossing the street, it's about the grandmother you encounter anywhere else. She's your grandmother. And I am saying this because this is the way I live my life. Even in Africa, in Cameroon, or in other places, all other places I've been in Africa, when a grandmother is passing the street, people will say, oh, you know, the mother. We don't have the term in most African countries. We don't have the term in our language, in our civil language, to say grandmother. We'll say mother, because if she's a grandmother, she's a mother. She's a mother of many. Okay, so we all say, oh, the mother. The mother is doing this, the mother is doing that, she needs to let the mother pass, things of that nature, to show respect, to pay respect, and to acknowledge their place in society, in the community. Okay, so this is not coming from a place of disrespect or anything like that. On the contrary, this is really, I'm calling on the elders, because we need the elders. The number of young girls who are lost, completely lost, the number of young women who are just lost, who don't even know, is astounding. And grandmother, you can't give up. Grandfather, you can't give up. Some of those boys are running around loose, with no father figure or no father image. Sometimes the grandfather has to step up and has to be that obelisk. You have to be that lighthouse, where when we're looking for guidance or we don't know where to go, we look at you, we turn to you, and we see exactly you pointing in certain direction, you shedding some light on some things. But you have to have wisdom for that. You have to have lived, you know, in a certain path of wisdom that you can share, and you shouldn't shy away from sharing. Sometimes you may think that your great-grandson or your grandchild is not listening to you, but believe us, when the words that come out of your mouth hit our brain, we may dismiss it on the fact, well, we're with you. We may dismiss it because we don't want to hear it, because this is probably going against what you want to do. If you have a grandson who's going out and you're telling him, hey, don't hang out with his friends, don't hang out with his boys, then it's not going to end really well, and he doesn't want to hear it, he may not hear it at that moment, but believe it, just the fact that you say that, he will hear it at some point. That very sentence, that very voice, that very energy of caring will touch his heart at some point. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be right away. As you say it, he's going to say, oh yes, grandfather, you're right. No. He may make many mistakes. She may make many mistakes. And later on realize what my grandfather taught me was pure wisdom. That could have avoided me a lot of suffering, a lot of anxiety, a lot of negative experiences. And when she's going to tell her son or her child or her grandchild, he's going to get warned. And that's important, because that's how you're planting seeds within your own legacy, within your own bloodline. You know, there's a lot of talk about, you know, clearing up your bloodline and this and that, and generational curses and all of that. You as a grandparent, you as an elder, have the ability to plant those seeds. And planting seeds is not just about the pregnant woman with the baby in the belly doing everything she can, talking and nurturing the baby in a specific direction, voicing her concern, voicing her blessings, giving her blessings, all the different things. It's not just about that. It's also about you as a grandfather and as a grandmother, as a mother or as a father, to speak those words, to speak that truth, and to empower your child, your grandchild, your nephew, the child's neighbor, the child in the neighborhood, the child you just encounter and seeing. You may not even know his mother, you may not even know his father. The reason why in our biblical tradition, or even in Cameroon, or even in any African country that we have lived, when you go to the market, people look at you. If you have a child, they're going to call you dad. They're going to refer to you as an uncle, as an auntie, because they assume that this is your child. This may be some random kid that you just met. This may be some, your nephew, but they will assign to you the respect and the reverence that comes with being a parent. As a grandparent, as an elder, you are a parent. An elder is a parent. Whether you have biological children of your own or whether you don't, you still are a parent. That's a big part of being an elder, which is being lost completely today. Some people will think that being elder is just a matter of you showing your passport or showing your birth certificate and saying, hey, I was born in 1952, therefore I am an elder. No, scratch the paper. It's about the role and the participation that you have in the community, the voice that you share, the message that you're sharing, the light that you're sharing, the advice, the type of advice that you're sharing with the youth, the type of way you are conducting yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Don't get me wrong. It's not about holding you on a pedestal and all this stuff. It's about you using your experiences, using your mistakes, using your achievement to teach the youngsters to do better. To do better. And I know many will say, well, I've tried, I told them, I warned them, they didn't want to listen to me, they didn't want to do it, they didn't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. Yes, the point is not whether they're listening to you or not. The point is whether you are doing your part or you're not doing your part. How many times you will tell a child something and you won't even register with them until they're confronted with the situation. It's when they confronted the situation with your voice, your exact word may come to the front of their mind and say, hey, grandfather said this. And sometimes it may not even be your voice. It may be some complete stranger, somebody who's not part of the family, a friend of them, an elder, somebody they admire that say the very same thing, and it finally registers with them. They finally understand what you meant all of those years that you kept repeating the same thing. So it's really not about you in the sense of you having this grander role and this grander. It's about you just having that small self-placed part. Your personality is here to encourage, to envision, to infuse wisdom into the youth. And I think it's beautiful. It's so beautiful when you see an elder spewing that wisdom, holding hands, and you can see the elder who has like generation of wisdom, generation of children that he's nurtured, he's taught, he's guided. And I mean, when you have the opportunity to meet an elder, especially when it is a man, because I am a woman, so when you have the opportunity to meet a man who's been nurturing, teaching, and guiding generation of people, it just uplifts your spirit in such an amazing way. Okay, you just want to sit there, take your cup of tea and just listen and enjoy the interaction, enjoy the profusion of wisdom, and realize that's what life is all about. It's about having those experiences, being able to say that, hey, I made a mistake in 1952, and Darlene was really the woman that probably loves me most in my entire existence, which I didn't realize back then, and I'm realizing now, just because of all of the care and all of the gifts that she had, and all of what she gave, not just to me but to everybody in the community. And sitting at your 70, having gone through 70 years of experience, and look back at that and be able to recognize the wisdom, the love, the attention, the infatuation that you had for this woman who is still your wife, or this woman that you've let go. And that's a beautiful lesson to teach young boys, young men, to say, you know, you may have only 3 amazing, wonderful soulmates that come along. You missed the first one because you're stupid. You missed the second one just because you couldn't decide between her and the other woman. But don't miss the third one. The one that's there to build with you, the one that's there that's going to honor you, the one that's there that's going to push you even when you can't push yourself, the one that's there that's going to be looking at you with that light in her eyes because she admires you so much and she loves you so much that she knows you can do anything. And no matter what the experience you have, no matter what you have to share, it may well be that you ended up messing up every single relationship that you had because you took people for granted, or you were being selfish, or what have you. And now you can tell that story, and you can foretell those youngsters about what being alone has taught you. Especially if you felt love before, especially if you've been in a relationship before, and now you're being by yourself, and you realize how lonely it can be, how lonesome it can be, and you want to encourage them to really grasp the opportunity to love without playing games, and the beauty of that. And so there's each of you have something to teach. So don't be an elder who's just like, well, I didn't accomplish much, I didn't see the world, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I don't think I can teach, I don't think I can be a resource for younger folks. That is not true. No matter what the experience that you had, no matter what you went through, you have something to teach. There will be youngsters who will be willing to listen to that story, even if at first it seems like they're listening and, you know, getting this right out of their mind. It's never the case. Whenever we hear from our parents, our grandparents, that information stays with us and comes to the surface when we need it most. I don't know an individual who received some piece of advice and never remembers it. They will remember it when they need it most. They remember it sometimes after the fact, but they will remember it. They will remember your exact words. They will even sometimes remember it with the exact tone that you had. And if it's too late for them to apply it, if it's too late for them to use that wisdom, they certainly will use it to tell it to someone else. And that's the whole point of it. Passing on the wisdom, paying it forward, so that we can break cycles. A lot of time I hear people talking to children and talking to the youngsters and saying, hey, you have to break the cycle that your great-grandparents created, or your ancestors created. But sometimes for those of you who are elders who are here, you have the power to break that cycle yourself. It's not always about the youth doing that. The youth, you know, part of being young and part of the youth is the ability to make mistakes, and sometimes, yes, to not have to pay for those mistakes just because you were young. I know that some people think, you know, it's kind of selfish and it's kind of like irresponsible, but the truth is, as a youngster, you should be allowed to make mistakes, and as many mistakes as possible before you become an adult. That's the whole point. When you become an adult is when you face the consequences of all your actions, and you face and you realize all the different things that, you know, you have to face and you have to take care of. When you're a child, you are able to play and explore and do different things, and I think a lot of people don't have that chance. They don't even have that that allowance to be able to make mistakes. I hear a lot of time mothers, black mothers especially, saying, oh, the child has to grow up, he needs to grow up. No, he doesn't need to grow up. An 8-year-old is an 8-year-old. An 8-year-old shouldn't have to lead the life of the 14 or the 24th or the 30-year-old. And there is beauty in that innocence, in that period of time where you're just experiencing the world carefree. You don't have to worry about the rent is being paid or not. You don't have to worry about, you know, having to, you know, make sure your mom is in bed or your brother is doing this or doing that. And I think we need as a community, as human beings, to just be a lot more mindful of the part that is entrusted in us. And for you as elders, there's a delightful part entrusted in you. I've had so many elders that have guided me throughout the years. I'm not saying that I listen to all of their advice, okay? And I have a godmother that's in New York. I'll probably share this video with her because hopefully it touches her heart, because it's my Jewish grandmother. I view her as a grandmother. It's just a beautiful, beautiful woman, bless her heart. When I was in the United States and I had my first firm job as a college graduate, it took me about a month after I graduated from college to find my job, and I think a few weeks after I started working there, we just ended up doing the same commute. And she was just a blessing to my life in that time, and she's been a blessing ever since. And she just took me in. She was my spiritual mother. She was my friend, and she just was this mother away from home that I needed at the time. And I've learned so much from her, and I've grown so much from her. And it's definitely when I felt about giving up on love, the thought of her always rushed to my mind. Okay, she was divorced, she found love in her as an elder, and her relationship with her husband and her partner is just amazing to me. And that's always the relationship I think of every time I'm tempted to give up on love. Back then, every time I was tempted to give up on love, I was just thinking about, hey, she found love in her elder years, and just the light in her face, just her smile when she's talking about her partner, to me was just heartwarming. To me was contagious. And so elders always play a role no matter where you are. She wasn't my biological grandmother. We weren't related biologically. She's from a different race, a different faith, but yet the wisdom and the care that she had for me touched my heart, blessed my heart. I can't go to DC or New York without, you know, letting her know, asking her how she is, when I do have pressing questions, seeking her wisdom and honoring her. I think, to me, I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't have many elders from many different cultures, from many different paths of life, from many different perspectives. You know, you hear me a lot on this channel talking about my own grandmother who's back home, and the wisdom and the care that she has for me, and she's probably my core, she's my heart. And I was lucky while I was away from her to have this array of other elders who have given me the same love, the same touch, have given me their wisdom, have shared with me their experiences, have guided me, sometimes even without me asking them. They just naturally came to guide me. And this is exactly what it is about. This is what this call is about. You as an elder, sometimes I do get messages from people who are in their 50s and 60s and who are grandmothers and who are saying, well, you know, I'm watching your videos and I'm learning so much. And I say, it's wonderful. That's what you need to do. Sometimes people will say, well, I'm already an elder, I'm already married, I'm already this, I'm already that, I don't really know what this wisdom will, you know, I say, you know, come into my coaching group so I can teach you more, I can teach you more things. And the person will say, well, you know, I'm old and elder, I'm old and... But the point is, the wisdom is not just for you. You maybe, I cannot spread myself and teach everyone. But I know that if I teach you the little bit that I know that you don't, you can take that and teach the younger girls around you. You can take that and advise and have a different perspective when advising the youngest around you. You know, it's one thing to share my videos and for them to watch my videos and understand me and be subscribers or join my tribe and all of that, but I think it's even more wiser for you as an elder to add on to your own knowledge. We never cease learning. I mean, I don't think I'll ever stop learning. You know, it's not because and believe me, I have plenty of degrees, so I love me some learning. I love going to school and learning some stuff and getting degrees and being acknowledged for the time I spent studying something and demonstrating that I mastered it or whatever. You know, I have a bachelor's and master's degree and a number of certificating on different topics and subjects. But for me, the learning never stops. In some of the learning, I don't have any certificate for that. My life experience, there's no certificate for that. The only thing that I test for that is my own testimony and what I'm doing with the experiences and the knowledge that I've acquired. So I think as an elder, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the generation coming after you to always expand your knowledge. There are things that you may already know. There are things that you may say that you don't need, but someone next to you needs. Understanding one's cycle, understanding how your moon time messages and influences your ability to complete certain tasks, your ability to be motivated, your level of energy during the month. You may not feel that you need to have that information because everything is well and sound with you, but that information may be invaluable to your daughter, to your grandchild, to her grandchild, or to the children coming after that. Even I've kind of concentrated a lot on teaching women, and I only have one program that can be accessible to men, which is the Sacred Space program. But at the same time is that whether you're a man or woman, as an elder, you have to continue to pursue wisdom and knowledge. It doesn't stop. The grave is not even going to stop you. That's what we call your ancestors. You know, your children are going to keep calling your name and calling after you for assistance and for help. So what do you think that if you're here, you're not even willing to learn? Is it when you transition that you're going to be willing to do so? It has to be placed as a continuum, because that's the only way that you're going to inspire your 1-year-old to keep learning, to keep exploring. That he's not going to be scared of falling down and getting up and going to those different corners, those darker corners that his mother may be scared of. He's not scared of that, because nobody taught him that he has to be scared of the dark. He has to be scared of, you know, those intricate things. He has to be scared of the unknown. That's something that's being taught to him. And you have the ability as an elder to shed